Imagine bumping your car today at just 8 kilometers per hour. Nothing serious, right? Wrong. The plastic cracks, the sensor breaks, the headlight shatters, and the bill at the repair shop hurts more than the impact. But what almost no one knows is that this modern fragility is no accident. It is a direct consequence of brilliant technology that the law itself killed. There was a time when cars could withstand these bumps without a scratch, a time when engineering was stronger than marketing and smarter than the insurance companies. Today, we will reveal how the legendary 5 miles per hour bumper was created and why it was destroyed when it worked best. In the 50s and 60s, the bumper was synonymous with a chrome steel bar. Visually perfect Cadillac, Chevy, Ford, everyone displayed true chromed mustaches on the front. But there was a huge practical problem: they provided almost no protection. Small parking lot bumps, bent supports, dented grills, and damaged headlights. There was no federal standard dictating how much damage a car could sustain at low speed. Insurance companies began noticing that ridiculous bumps resulted in very expensive repairs and, of course, higher insurance premiums. In 1969, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, or IIHS, began testing bumpers in low-speed impacts and disclosed that most cars deformed in 5 miles per hour, crashes generating losses far beyond reasonable for something so common. The insurers, tired of paying the bill for every dent, began pressuring Washington regulate the bumpers. In 1972, the American Congress approved the Motor Vehicle Information and Cost Savings Act. Title I ordered the Department of Transportation to create a bumper performance standard with a curious goal: reducing physical damage in low-speed impacts, not saving lives. In other words, the government officially entered the business of protecting property in slow-speed crashes. The NHTSA then created FMVSS 215, requiring that starting in 1973, bumpers protect safety components in impacts of 5 miles per hour in the front, 2.5 miles per hour in the rear. Soon after, the rule became even stricter for the 1974 model years and beyond: 5 miles per hour, front and rear, with no damage to lights, fuel tanks, steering systems, and other critical points. To comply with this, it was no longer possible to rely on a piece of chrome to be merely decorative. Now, the bumper had to be an energy system capable of absorbing impact, deforming controllably, and returning to its place without transmitting destructive forces to the body. That is when engineering entered maximum creative mode. If you look at photos of 1974 cars, you understand the shock overnight models gained true steel pillows front and back. Many enthusiasts call these bumpers battering rams, chromed rams. Beneath the clumsy appearance, however, were extremely intelligent engineering solutions. Telescopic hydraulic absorbers. Bumpers were mounted on pistons that compressed in impacts up to 5 miles per hour and then returned, leaving the car practically intact. Sliding rails and crush cans, structures calculated to deform, predictably dissipating energy before reaching the frame or the main body. Precise alignment and pendulum tests. The American standard required the bumper to withstand standardized impacts with barriers and pendulums, which forced automakers to design something far beyond a kick it will hold mentality. In tests at the time, cars with these 5 miles per hour bumpers emerged unscathed from minor bumps that today would destroy headlight sensors and hoods. An NHTSA study estimated that despite the higher initial cost, these systems could save billions of dollars in low-speed damage over the years. From the point of view of pure engineering, it was brilliant. You could hit the car at about 8 kilometers per hour and simply drive on. But none of this came for free: weight and fuel consumption. These robust bumpers were heavy, bulky, full of steel and mechanisms. This directly affected fuel consumption and performance precisely at a time when the 1973 oil shock already made gasoline spending a huge political and economic problem. Cost and the $1 billion car. A 1978 article in Reason magazine calculated that the 5 miles per hour bumper standard was already costing something in the range of billions of dollars annually in additional production costs passed on to the consumer in the vehicle's final price. The criticism was direct. Each car had hundreds of extra dollars in steel mechanisms and development to avoid damage and crashes that often the insurance companies already covered. From an enthusiast's point of view, okay, from the perspective of a low-income family trying to buy their first new car, it was questionable, the impact on design. And then comes the part that hurts the hearts of classic car lovers. Corvettes, Camaros, Mustangs, Cadillacs. Everyone had their designs adapted, sometimes abruptly, to accommodate huge bumpers. One Hagerty columnist calls 1974 one of the years that changed cars forever, precisely because of the bumpers and emission standards. In practice, many models lost elegance, proportion, and clean lines. Hence, the common narrative in American forums, the law destroyed the design and the consumer paid the bill. The same billion-dollar bumpers article points out that by placing the government in the business of limiting material damage at low speeds, Congress effectively made the Department of Transportation a direct ally of the insurance lobby, especially the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. The logic was, the less damage and small crashes, the fewer expensive claims, the less pressure to increase premiums, and a more predictable business environment for insurance companies. In short, insurers helped push the 5 miles per hour standard initially because it reduced the average size of losses in parking lot and light urban traffic collisions. Later, ironically, the same insurers opposed when the Reagan administration began weakening the 5 mile per hour standard to 2.5 mile per hour in the 80s. IIHS representatives complained that the new standard was too weak and that this would lead to more damage and higher repair costs for consumers. So what is the truth? The law was indeed born out of a concern for reducing financial losses much more than saving lives. The insurance lobby was crucial in putting the issue on the table in Washington, but when the bumpers became weaker insurers and consumer groups stood on the same side against the government demanding stronger standards. From the point of view of our title, the reading that makes sense is, the law created a system where the insurer's pockets always enter the equation even if the consumer is not aware of it. With pressure from automakers complaining about high cost, weight, impact on design, and a more pro-deregulation political climate in the early 80s, the NHTSA decided to relax the standard. Starting with the 1983 model years, the federal standard for passenger car bumpers was practically reduced to something like 2.5 miles per hour impacts, with much milder, no visible damage requirements. In 2009, the NHTSA itself, when reviewing the history of the rule, Part 581, acknowledged that the trajectory was long and full of changes, with back and forth between tougher and weaker requirements always in a tug-of-war between automotive industry, consumer groups, and insurers. For the enthusiast, the practical result was lighter, more efficient, visually cleaner cars, but bumpers that were much more decorative than functional. Today, the IIHS lives by publishing tests where small 5 miles per hour impacts generate thousands of dollars in damage to plastics, parking sensors, assistance radars, and even AEB systems. In other words, the engineering that already knew how to save your wallet in parking bumps was practically disabled by the combination of cost aesthetics and a short-sighted view. When we talk about the forbidden bumper, it is not that there is a law that says it is illegal to build a good bumper. What exists is a set of incentives and rules that make it unfeasible or economically irrational to repeat the robust engineering of the 70s. Federal standards no longer require 5 miles per hour resistance, only 2.5 miles per hour, and with greater damage tolerance. Modern aerodynamics demands smooth surfaces with bumpers integrated into the body. Sensors, radars, cameras, and ADAS systems began occupying the frontal impact zone, making any damage more expensive. The average consumer values design and technology more than an ugly but effective bumper. In practice, the 5 miles per hour standard was switched off by the law itself, and no one is obliged to maintain engineering that is more expensive, heavier, and visually controversial if the regulator does not demand it. And who benefits from this? Automakers save steel weight development and can prioritize design and gadgets. Insurers continue making money with premiums and claims, but now in a scenario of more frequent and more expensive damages, which translates into higher monthly fees. The car owner is definitely the one who loses. They have a vehicle that is nicer, cleaner, but that falls apart financially with any bumper kiss. This 5-mile-per-hour bumper is the perfect example of a technology that worked in the real world, was mechanical, simple, repairable, solved an everyday problem, parking lot bumps, and was weakened not because it was bad, but because it was expensive, heavy, and visually inconvenient. It reminds us that not all regulatory evolution is linear. Sometimes what comes next is worse for the end user. 70s, engineering forced by regulations created solutions that still today seem superior in certain aspects to modern, hyper-electronic, and fragile cars. Many of the forbidden technologies we analyze on the channel, from indestructible engines to million-mile cars, were victims of the same combination law cost and market narrative. In the end, the 5 miles per hour bumper is the symbol of a question that we enthusiasts keep hammering. How many brilliant solutions has engineering already created that the law, the cost, and the marketing decided to bury? And you, if you could choose, would you prefer a car with robust bumpers that withstand 5 miles per hour without a scratch, even if a little heavier and square? Or the clean, light, and expensive to repair design we have today? Tell us in the comments here. If you enjoy this type of investigation where engineering fights with legislation and sometimes loses, leave a like, subscribe to Remember That Car, and stay with us. In the next video, we will open another drawer of the forbidden history of the automotive industry and show you another technology that should never have disappeared from the streets.